Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Nighttime Mics. I'm Sarah, and I'm joined by my co-host and good friend, Mike. How you doing today, Mike? Are you feeling ready for the day?
Hey, Sarah. I'm doing great, actually. I've got my oversized coffee mug right here. The steam is hitting my face, and I'm feeling surprisingly awake for this time of day. How about you? Did you manage to get a good start this morning?
You know, it was one of those mornings where everything felt a bit slow motion. I woke up, looked at my alarm, and just thought, is it really Tuesday already? But once I got my tea going, things started to look up. And that's actually perfect because today we are talking about exactly that, starting a workday.
Oh man, this is such a big topic. I feel like everyone has a love-hate relationship with their morning routine. Or in my case, a no-routine routine. I've tried everything from the 5 a.m. cold shower club to the roll out of bed at 8:55 a.m. for a 9 a.m. meeting method.
I know, right? I think we've all been on both sides of that. There's so much pressure these days to have this perfect aesthetic morning. You know, the ones you see on YouTube where people are meditating in the sunlight and drinking green juice before the birds are even awake.
Exactly. I see those videos and I feel like I'm already failing at life by 7 a.m. I tried one of those miracle mornings last month. I set my alarm for 5:30. I was going to run, read a book, and meal prep. Do you want to know what actually happened?
Oh, I can't wait to hear this. Did you actually make it out the door for the run?
Not even close. I woke up, hit the snooze button so hard I almost broke my phone, and then I fell back asleep and had a very stressful dream about being chased by a giant alarm clock. I didn't get out of bed until 8:15. I felt worse than if I had just slept normally.
No way. That's hilarious, but also so relatable. I think that's the problem. We try to change everything at once. We go from sleepyhead to superhero overnight, and our bodies just say, no thank you. I've realized that for me, a good workday start isn't about being a superhero. It's just about not feeling like a zombie.
Not feeling like a zombie. That should be the goal for everyone. So Sarah, what's your secret? You always seem so organized and focused when we start our sessions. How do you actually kick things off?
Well, I figured out that I need a buffer zone. I can't go straight from my bed to my laptop. If I do that, my brain feels like it's still in a fog. So I have a rule, no screens for the first 30 minutes. I get up, make my bed, because that makes me feel like I've already achieved one thing, and then I make my tea. I just sit and look out the window for a bit. It sounds boring, but it helps me gather my thoughts.
That's interesting. You call it a buffer zone. I call it staring into space while my brain downloads the day. I do something similar, but usually I'm looking at the back of a cereal box. But I have a bad habit I really need to give up. I check my emails the second I open my eyes.
Oh, Mike, why do you do that to yourself? That sounds like a recipe for instant stress.
I know, it's terrible. I'll be lying there half asleep and I see an email about a problem or a deadline, and suddenly my heart starts racing. I haven't even brushed my teeth yet and I'm already worrying about work. It's a habit that's really hard to break, though. I feel like if I don't check, I'm missing something urgent.
I totally get that. It's that FOMO, the fear of missing out, even with work. But honestly, what is so urgent at 7 a.m. that it can't wait until 9? Most of the time, we just create our own anxiety. I actually had to move my phone charger to the kitchen so I wouldn't reach for it first thing in the morning.
That is a brilliant move. I should try that. My phone is basically my alarm clock, though, so I'd have to buy a real alarm clock. Do they even make those anymore? The ones that go beep, beep, beep?
Yes, they definitely do. They are much harder to ignore than a phone. But let's talk about the actual start of the work. When you finally sit down at your desk, what's the first thing you do? Do you dive straight into your hardest task, or do you ease into it?
Well, it depends. If I've had enough coffee, I try to look at my to-do list. I'm a big fan of writing things down the night before. I found that if I start the day by trying to figure out what I need to do, I waste so much time. It's like my brain is a car that needs to be warmed up before it can drive.
I love that analogy. I'm the same way. I use a physical planner. There's something so satisfying about crossing things off with a pen, don't you think? Digital apps are great, but they don't give you that same feeling of, I did it.
Oh, I totally agree. I have a notebook on my desk and I use a bright red pen to cross things out. It makes me feel powerful. But I have a question for you. Do you ever struggle with small task trap? You know, where you spend 3 hours doing tiny, unimportant things like cleaning your inbox or changing fonts just to avoid the one big thing you actually need to do?
Every single Workday. It's so easy to trick yourself into thinking you're being productive when you're actually just procrastinating. I'll tell myself, I'll just answer these 5 quick emails, and suddenly it's lunchtime and I haven't started my main project. That's why I started using the eat the frog method. Have you heard of that?
I have. It sounds a bit gross, but the idea is to do the hardest thing first, right? If you eat a frog first thing in the morning, nothing worse can happen to you all day.
Exactly. It's about tackling the most stressful or difficult task when your energy is at its highest. For me, that's usually between 9 a.m. and 11 a.m. If I can get that big frog out of the way, the rest of the day feels like a breeze.
That's a great way to put it. I think I'm more of a hide the frog under a napkin and hope it goes away kind of person. I usually save the hard stuff for 4 p.m., which is the worst time because I'm already thinking about dinner.
I know the feeling. By 4 p.m., my brain is ready to shut down. But hey, speaking of environments, where do you usually work? Are you a desk person, or do you prefer the couch or maybe a cafe?
Oh, I have to be at a desk. If I try to work on the couch, within 20 minutes I'm lying down, and within 30 minutes I'm taking a nap. I need a proper chair and a clear space. But I've realized that my desk gets messy so fast. I'll start with a clean desk, and by Tuesday afternoon,
It is a bit dramatic, but there is some truth to it. I've started doing standing meetings. If I have a quick phone call, I'll walk around my apartment while I talk. It gets the blood flowing and keeps me from feeling like a statue.
That's a great idea. I should try that. I usually just sit and slouch until my chin is almost touching the desk. Not very good for my posture. But let's talk about the social side. Do you find it hard to start the day if you don't talk to anyone?
That's a really good question. When I work from home, I definitely feel the isolation. Sometimes I realize at 2 p.m. that I haven't actually used my voice yet. It's a very strange feeling. That's why I like to have a quick check-in with my team, or even just a quick text to a friend. It reminds me that I'm part of the world.
I totally agree. At my old job, we had a morning huddle at 9:15. At the time, I hated it because it felt like a waste of time. But now that I'm working more independently, I actually miss it. It was a good way to clock in mentally. You see your coworkers, you share a joke, and then you're all in it together.
Clock in mentally. That's such a good phrase. It's that transition from home me to work me. When you don't have an office to go to, you have to create that transition yourself. Do you have a specific outfit for work, or are you a pajamas all day kind of guy?
Okay, I'll be honest. During the first few months of working from home, I was definitely a pajama guy. But I figured out pretty quickly that if I don't get dressed, I don't feel ready. Now I have a work uniform. It's just a clean t-shirt and jeans, but it makes a huge difference. I would never wear pajamas to a meeting. Well, maybe just the pajama pants if it's a Zoom call.
The classic Zoom look. Professional from the waist up, party from the waist down. We've all done it. But you're right, getting dressed is a huge psychological trigger. It's like putting on your armor for the day.
Exactly. It's all about these little triggers. But what about the days when things just go wrong? You wake up late, the coffee machine breaks, your internet is slow. How do you handle a bad start?
Oh man, those days are the worst. I used to let a bad morning ruin my whole day. I'd be grumpy and stressed, and I'd just give up on being productive. But now I try to have a reset button. If the morning is a disaster, I tell myself, okay, that was the morning. At 1 p.m., I'm starting a new day. I'll go for a walk or have a nice lunch, and I try to leave the stress behind.
I love that idea of a reset button. It's so easy to carry that negative energy with you all day. Oh, the internet was slow this morning, so now I'm going to be mad at this spreadsheet. It doesn't make any sense, but we do it anyway.
We really do. We're so hard on ourselves. We think that if we aren't perfectly productive from 9 to 5, we've failed. But life isn't a straight line. Some mornings are just going to be messy.
So true. I think my biggest struggle with starting the workday is actually starting the work. I'll open my laptop, I'll look at my list, and then I'll think, I wonder what's happening on Twitter, or I should check the news. 20 minutes later, I've read 10 articles about something that has nothing to do with my job.
I know, right? The internet is a dangerous place for a productive morning. It's designed to keep us clicking. I've had to use one of those website blockers. It's an app that literally prevents me from visiting certain sites during work hours. It felt like I was treating myself like a child at first, but it's the only thing that worked.
No way. Does it actually work? Or do you find ways to go around it?
It actually works. It shows a big message that says, go back to work, whenever I try to go to a social media site. It's a bit embarrassing, but it really helps me stay on track. Sometimes we need a little tough love from ourselves.
I might need to download that. I'm a sucker for just one more video. But I've realized that my energy levels really fluctuate. I'm a night owl by nature. I come up with my best ideas at 10 p.m. So starting a workday at 9 a.m. feels like I'm fighting against my own biology.
That's a really tough position to be in. A lot of people are night owls, but the world is built for early birds. Do you find that you can do shallow work in the morning and deep work at night?
That's exactly what I do. I use the morning for the boring stuff. Emails, scheduling, admin tasks, things that don't require too much brain power. Then I save the creative stuff for later when I'm feeling more switched on. It took me a long time to figure out that I didn't have to do everything in the morning just because that's what successful people say they do.
That is so important. There is no one-size-fits-all for productivity. If you work best at 11 p.m. and your job allows it, then do that. The goal is to get the work done, not to follow a specific schedule just for the sake of it.
Exactly. It's about being intentional with your time. But tell me, Sarah, what do you think is the biggest mistake people make when they start their workday?
That's a good one. I think the biggest mistake is trying to do too much too fast. People look at a list of 20 things and try to think about all of them at once. It's like trying to run a marathon before you've even put on your shoes. It leads to paralysis by analysis, where you're so overwhelmed by the options that you don't do anything at all.
Paralysis by analysis. I love that. I definitely suffer from that. I'll spend an hour just trying to decide which task to start with, and by the time I decide, I'm too tired to actually do it. It's a vicious cycle.
It really is. That's why I'm such a fan of the top 3 rule. Every morning, I pick 3 things that must get done. Just 3. Everything else is a bonus. It makes the day feel much more manageable. If I finish the 3, I feel like a success, even if there are still 10 other things on the list.
That's a great tip. I usually have a list of 20 things, and even if I do 15 of them, I feel like I failed because I didn't do the other 5. It's a very negative way to look at the day. I should focus on what I did achieve, not what I didn't.
Exactly. Positive reinforcement is so much more effective than guilt. We should be our own best cheerleaders, not our own worst critics.
I love that. Be your own cheerleader. I'm going to imagine myself with pom-poms tomorrow morning when I open my laptop.
Please send me a photo of that. That would be the best way to start my day.
Deal. But honestly, Sarah, I've learned a lot just by talking to you today. It's funny how we think these struggles are just ours, but everyone is trying to figure it out.
They really are. Even the people who look like they have it all together. I guarantee you, even the most successful CEOs have mornings where they just want to stay in bed and watch Netflix.
That makes me feel a lot better. I think the key is just to keep trying. If one routine doesn't work, try another one. And don't give up just because you had one bad morning.
Precisely. It's a journey, not a destination. And I think that's a great place to start wrapping things up today, Mike. We've covered a lot today, from eating frogs to zombie modes and red pen power.
It's been a blast. I'm actually feeling a bit more prepared for tomorrow now. I think I'm going to go move my phone charger to the kitchen right now before I forget.
Go for it. And to our listeners, thank you so much for joining us on this episode of Nighttime Mics. We hope our stories and tips help you find a better way to start your own workday.
Definitely. And remember, it doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be your way.
Well said, Mike. We'd love to hear from you guys too. Do you have a morning ritual that changed your life? Or a morning disaster story you want to share? Let us know.
Yeah, we love hearing your stories. It makes us feel a little less alone in the morning struggle.
For sure. Well, I think that's it for today. Mike, it's been a pleasure as always.
Same here, Sarah. I'll see you at our next morning huddle.
You bet. Have a productive and peaceful day, everyone.
Take care and happy working.
Bye.
Bye.
I just realized I didn't even mention the best part of my morning.
What's that?
I have a playlist called Morning Motivation, and it's all 80s movie soundtracks. Like The Eye of the Tiger?
No way. You listen to Eye of the Tiger while you drink your tea? That is so intense.
It really works. It makes me feel like I'm in a training montage. By the time the song is over, I feel like I can conquer anything.
That is amazing. I'm going to have to try that. Maybe I'll try some 80s rock tomorrow instead of my lo-fi beats.
Give it a try. You might find your inner Rocky.
I'll let you know how it goes. Mike's training montage, the spreadsheet edition.
I love it. All right, now we are actually going. Talk to you later, Mike.
Talk soon. Bye.
Bye.